Welcome to part 3 in this series where I'm trying to fix 16 broken Xbox One S's and 2 broken Xbox One X's. So far I've fixed 5 out of the consoles that I've looked at. I've got 6 more to take a look at today. Let's get started. We're going to start by taking a look at console number 13. Number 13 looks like it has all the parts and pieces, so I've got it plugged in. Let's see if it does anything on the screen. And it looks like we have another partial power. This is like 6 of those or something. So all the partial power ones I'm gonna save for a different video because there's gonna be some pretty in-depth testing I'm gonna have to do on these. So keep an eye on my channel for that. You may wanna subscribe just so you don't miss it. But for now, we're gonna set this aside for a later video. So let's take a look at number 14. I've got it plugged in. Let's see if it shows anything on the TV. Number 14 seems to have no power. So let's get to the best part. Let's take it apart. Okay, and here we go. Let's take a look at the inside. This one looks really clean so far. So first thing, I'm going to try replacing the power supply and see if that'll do it. Okay, is it just a power supply? Hopefully. Definitely not. The other thing I'm thinking is it could be just this power button board here. I don't see any damage on it, but I'm gonna remove it and put one on that I know for sure is good, just so we can rule that out. And with that replaced, let's try it again. Nope. No power at all. Okay, at this point I'm going to take the motherboard out and we're going to check all those MOSFETs on the power rails. So after checking all the MOSFETs and everything obvious on this board, I just see no problems at all. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put this one in the pile of the Xboxes that have the partial power, and we have another power problem we need to look at. Let's take a look at number 15. Here we have number 15. Let's see if it turns on. Good news so far. Seems to have kind of a funky power problem. It's turned on now, but it was just powering on and back off. But it's on right now, so I'm thinking maybe a hard drive issue. We'll see if anything comes up on the screen here. Still nothing on the screen. I'm gonna take it apart so I can try a hard drive. Usually these types of problems are either a hard drive issue or an HDMI issue. But with the Xbox One S, it's more common to be a hard drive problem. So I'm gonna check that first, and then we'll go from there. Well, number 15 doesn't even have a hard drive, so that could definitely be the problem. Let's get a hard drive plugged in, and then we can see what it does. Now let's try it with a hard drive installed. So the fan will spin up and the hard drive makes a noise and then it turns off. So this is my known good hard drive, so I know it's not a hard drive problem. There's got to be something else on this motherboard that's causing that issue. This group of 6 is definitely not turning out well. So unfortunately we have yet another console that has a power issue. It'll power on and then it powers off. This powering on and off issue seems to be an issue throughout a lot of these, so this video I make about fixing them might be a really long one. Hopefully at least a few of them are going to be fixable, but for now, we just have to move on to number 16. So number 16 is our last Xbox One S before we look at the 2 Xbox One X's. This one is missing a power supply. I'm going to get it torn down to install the power supply, and then we'll see if it turns on. Okay, so we just need to put this power supply in. This hard drive has a big X on it. That's not encouraging. But if all it needs is a hard drive, that would be amazing. We have not been doing well on these so far. Okay, new power supply is installed, but will it power on? And here we go. No, of course it won't power on. So with a different hard drive, it'll power on, turn the white light on, and then make the exact same noise with the hard drive and power back off. So I did put the original hard drive back in. Listen to this. So yet another one with partial power. So far, this lot of 18 game consoles might be one of my worst buys yet. That being said, we've still got the two Xbox One X's. Let's take a look at those next. So we've got a lot of Xbox One S's that turn on and then turn back off through the partial power thing, which as I said, I'll save for another video. But right now we've only fixed, what, about 5 Xbox One S's. So a lot of the success on this project is gonna hinge on whether I can fix these Xbox One X's or not. These are worth way more than the S's. So if I can fix them, there's still a chance I might even be able to break even or even make a little bit of money if I can fix these two along with the 5 X's that I've fixed. So let's see if we can fix them. But first, this hair is just, let's, better. Let's see if we can fix the Xbox One X's. First things first, let's test it on the TV. Sounds like it does power on. So we do have the white light. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. Okay, we got an E200 error. That could be a hard drive problem, or possibly it might just need an update. We're gonna try OSU 2 first, just to see if that'll get it working. I'm hoping it doesn't need a hard drive, but even if it does, hard drives aren't too expensive and fairly easy to replace on these. OSU 2 didn't work. Let's try OSU 1. Okay, looking good so far. It looks like it's working so far, but I'm gonna skip ahead to the end so you guys can see if it worked or not. Now, while that one is updating, let's plug this one in and see if it'll start up. Definitely not. I can feel there's no resistance on the button. There's no clicking on the button, so there's definitely a problem with the power on this one. There's no noise at all on anything. So let's get this one apart while we're waiting on that one and see if we can figure it out. This one's missing the entire front board, and it's missing the board on the back, missing the ribbon cable here. It's also missing the hard drive. Let's see what it does have. Well, this is an unfortunate one. This one is actually missing the entire motherboard. That's a chance you take anytime you're buying salvage consoles. And unfortunately for me, this one was definitely a bad deal. The funny thing is it does have all the ports on the back to make it look like the motherboard is in here. Now the Xbox One X on the bottom is still showing the same error, so I'm gonna put a different hard drive in this. That's most likely the problem, so we're gonna put a different hard drive in and then see if we can get that resolved. This one, I'm finishing taking out all these parts. So now look at this part. They went through all the work of basically gluing all those ports back in the back just so it looked like there was a motherboard installed. Right here you can see this is like all some sort of just like glue. They got hot glue down there. They even screwed this back in, so it had the normal screws here. So this one you can tell someone intentionally tried to make someone else think that there was a motherboard installed when there's definitely not. So unfortunately this one will be a loss. The good thing is that we do have a power supply, a fan, and a disk drive. These power supplies themselves are worth quite a bit, so it's actually not a total loss, but unfortunately we're not going to get the money that I was hoping out of it. And needless to say, I will not be purchasing anything else from this same buyer that I purchased these from. That being said, it's not something where they did anything wrong. They were selling these as salvage. So I bought these listed as salvage, which means they definitely aren't going to work. They may be missing parts, such as this one, missing the entire motherboard and things like that. So that's a chance that I took on these. Now, my biggest problem with these was I bought them from a place in Canada, so unfortunately shipping was extremely high for these, and I probably would have gotten the price down a lot more. I probably would have paid more like $40 each for these if it wasn't for shipping. So that was definitely my mistake in purchasing something from Canada that took so much to ship. In fact, I paid more for shipping than I did for the entire lot of consoles. Now, that being said, I have also purchased salvage where everything was in good condition, where all the parts were there. There was just some minor fixes that needed to happen. So when you're buying salvage, you get good lots and you get bad lots, and unfortunately, this was one of the bad ones. Now, with that all being said, we still were able to fix some of them, and I still may be able to fix some of the Xbox One S's that power on and off, so I'll probably still do at least okay, and by okay, I mean I won't lose a ton of money on it, but I probably will lose some. But there's no way to know how much until I get these fixed and sold. Let's get the hard drive in this good Xbox One X and see if we can get it fixed. Now, the hard drive on the Xbox One X is actually under the disk drive, so to get to that, we need to take this off. And to get this all the way off, we need to take the power supply out so we can unplug it. We actually can flip this up, but I don't like being that hard on these connectors, so I'm just going to take this power supply up a little bit, just like that. Then we will unplug the connectors here. And we can just take this out, and then we have direct access right to the hard drive. So we've got our 1 terabyte hard drive out. Now we just need to replace it and see if it'll take an update. I have seen these where for some reason this didn't take an update. I'm assuming there was a problem on the motherboard. Hopefully this one will just take the update just fine when we put the new hard drive in, and we'll have a working Xbox One X. Fingers crossed. I'm not actually going to screw this in all the way yet. I just want to see if it works. And then after I see if it works, then I'll get it all screwed in. There we go. Let's see what it does. While that's doing its thing, I wanted to show you guys a better look at this. So you can see all the work they went through just to put this all back and steal the motherboard out of it. I'm not sure why they took, oh, these are brand new HDMI ports. They took brand new HDMI ports. I'm assuming they would have had to take some of these off of the motherboard in order to glue them in there. But the reason they did this is so when it was all together, the pictures they showed would show that all these ports were here, which would make anyone think that there was a motherboard in there. Without these ports, you would think, oh, there's not even a motherboard in there. I don't want to pay them as much for this console. So I don't know for sure whether it was the company I bought it from or the place they got these from, because they're just a salvage liquidation company. So they get lots of salvage stuff from retailers and other places, and then they just resell them. So it's possible that they did this, or it's possible that this is how it came in. There's no way for me to know that, but you can see whoever did a lot of work to make someone think it was something that it wasn't. And with salvage lots, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and apparently on this lot, I probably lost. That's something to always keep in mind if you try to buy salvage. Always remember that you never totally know what you're gonna get, and it totally depends on the seller. So I myself have kind of like a list of sellers that I know are good, where I can buy salvage merchandise, and then I have a list of sellers that aren't so good, and this seller will definitely go on that list, so I know not to buy from them again. But the only way to know is to buy something from them and check it out, so then you know if they're good or not. Okay, it is now applying the update. This is the critical part. Let's see if it applies it totally, or if there's some other problem on this Xbox One X. Also, shout out to Elliot from the Retro Future for the cool hats. Okay, it's up to about 65%. Usually when it gets this far, it's fine, so I'm hoping that it's gonna be fine. It looks good so far. If it does the update correctly, then I just need to go through and test everything else and make sure it's working. So it's stuck at 66%. We're gonna try OSU 2, and then go back to OSU 1. Definitely nothing there. And we have E200 again. So I hooked the hard drive up to my computer and fixed any bad partitions on the drive, and everything went well with that. It was able to repair everything, but unfortunately we're still showing error E200 on this. So unfortunately I see no problems at all on this motherboard, which means, I hate to say it, but so far this one is not fixable. This lot of 18 Xboxes has definitely not been my best buy so far. The other bulk salvage buys that I've bought, I've definitely made money on them, and for example, like the Switches, I made pretty easy, good money on it. But unfortunately, these ones, I definitely did not do well. Part of the problem was they were definitely salvaged. There was parts missing and that sort of a thing. And that's something you just can't know unless you have a reliable supplier that you know is good. Unfortunately, this was a new supplier for me that I obviously will not be using in the future. So unfortunately, we were only able to fix 5 of these consoles so far. I will be taking a look in a future video at these ones that turn on and then back off, and then I will probably revisit this Xbox One X as well. So keep an eye on my channel. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and thanks so much for watching.